America's obsession with ice was sparked by climatic change. And I don't just mean the global warming scenario we find ourselves in now. The ice industry developed at the turn of the 19th century, which coincided with the tail end of the Little Ice Age. Unlike human-made climate change, the Little Ice Age was a naturally occurring phenomenon, a 4-century stretch of planetary cooling caused by a combination of erupting volcanoes and a period of calm on the surface of the sun. It was a time of spectacularly harsh weather that brought frosts in summer and weeks of thick snow and below-freezing temperatures in winter. Lakes and rivers froze to depths of several inches or more, allowing teams of men to chisel out blocks of ice, which their bosses then sold across the country and eventually around the world. If you watched the 2013 Disney film Frozen, you've seen an animated version of these men. It opens with 6 burly harvesters sawing blocks of ice out of a lake and hauling them to the back of 2 horse-pulled wagons. The ice saws depicted in the movie remarkably resemble those wielded by actual harvesters. But real-life ice harvesting wasn't as pleasant as the film suggests. Catchy songs and cute animals trading wry looks aside, real-life ice harvesting was dangerous business. Lakes and rivers didn't freeze evenly, and the thinner spots weren't easy to identify just by looking. Men and horses frequently fell through the ice, sometimes to their deaths. The men lucky enough to be rescued were brought to the ice shanty, where they were handed a cup of whiskey to drink and warm themselves up. The horses wore lengths of rope around their necks so that if they fell through, the men could cinch the ropes tight, choking the animals just enough to keep them from struggling as they were pulled to safety. Ice harvesting was also dirty business. Natural ice was filthy with sediment and pollution, especially during the peak of the Industrial Revolution. Horses, being the living mammals that they are, let loose their bowels on the ice, the very ice that would soon touch the mouths of thirsty Americans. Every ice harvesting team employed a man to clean the ice by pulling a shine sleigh over areas where horses had just been. The sleigh scraped away the waste as he walked, thus earning its name from the shine it left behind. As the Little Ice Age came to an end, winters grew warmer. In the United States, lakes and rivers south of Maine rarely froze to the depths required to harvest the amount of ice that Americans had come to depend on. So ice harvesting went north until those bodies of water also failed to produce enough ice. This environmental change coincided with technological innovations and social and economic shifts that ultimately brought the American natural ice harvesting industry to an end. But that didn't eliminate the nation's taste for ice. How could it? The people were obsessed. Instead, the American innovative spirit that gave the world the cotton gin, the telephone, and 3D printing also spawned new ways of making and distributing ice. Those innovations made ice available to more people than ever before, and by the end of the 19th century, it had become a resource on par with coal in importance. Nowhere else in the world was there an ice industry as large as the one in the United States. Thomas Jefferson built one of the largest ice houses in the country of Virginia's Monticello. In a letter to his business manager, Jefferson wrote that the man must have ice wagons ready to come at a moment's warning, lest the ice house ever go empty. When Charles Dickens came for a visit from his home in southern England, he gawked at the American ice houses filled to the very throat and the mounds of ices that Americans ate in hot weather. Ice was so prominent that it was even used on the dead. The body of President Ulysses Grant was kept in a casket filled with ice for preservation in the summer heat as it was carried by train, then horse and carriage, from his cottage near Saratoga Springs, New York, to New York City, where he was eventually laid to rest.